My girlfriend knows I am no contact with my abusive parents, but she secretly took my son to meet them multiple times behind my back and told him not to tell daddy. Posted by you/Hellshelf. I, 22 didn't have an easy time growing up. My childhood was so messed up that I sort of just put it all in a mental box and left it at that. Needless to say, I left my parents as soon as I could, went no contact, and haven't seen them since. There are several reasons I went no contact, and my girlfriend, 23F, seemed understanding enough when I told her that I didn't even want to tell my parents about their grandson. I don't want my son around these people, I don't want my girlfriend around these people, and above all, I would never leave any child alone with these people. My girlfriend doesn't know exactly what my father did to me and my sister, but I also feel like she doesn't have to know in order to respect my wishes. Yesterday, my sister texted me a picture of our parents' dog, and in the background were my son's shoes. Our mother uploaded it on Facebook, where I have them blocked, but my sister recognized the shoes, though she was mainly concerned about them even having a kid over. My girlfriend and I both work, she only works part-time, but we always have someone to watch our child, either my sister or my girlfriend's family, so it's not like she had to bring him there for childcare. This was a deliberate decision that she should have made with me. I talked to my son about it, and it turns out he's been there several times, unsupervised, alone with my father. Apparently, nothing happened, but I was understandably angry and confronted my girlfriend as soon as she got home, which, of course, led to a huge fight. She left crying and went to her parents' house, and later, her mother came to pick up my son. I refused, which led to a fight with her mom too. My girlfriend texted me, asking to talk later today, and I know I can't keep my son from her, nor do I want to, but I don't want to go into our conversation unprepared. Any advice is welcome. I also feel betrayed and still very angry, and I'm honestly ready to break up over this. But my son is very upset and anxious because he heard our fight, and I'm just at a complete loss on how to handle this. Relevant comments. Commenter. On the one hand, if she doesn't know the whole story, I can appreciate why she would want to try to foster a relationship. But on the other hand, she betrayed you. And furthermore, why did she need a secret babysitter? It kind of seems like there's more to this if she was leaving him with them. Op's response. Even without the whole story, I always felt like she knew enough about my childhood. I can understand it too. Her mother also told me not to hold grudges, and my father apparently has issues with his liver, wonder where that's coming from. So I should just take the first step and forgive them, but this is my decision. She kept it a secret for months and essentially told my son to lie to me. I was so angry I didn't even think about any other reason why she would leave him there, but you're right. I mean, I kind of just assumed that she would visit them to rebuild that relationship because we have babysitters. Op explains if he has documents or reports of the abuse from his parents and other significant details. Yeah, my sister and I have no proof of what happened, and she wanted to get financial aid because her PTSD makes it harder for her to work, but her lawyer said it would be hard to get anyone to believe her or us. She eventually gave up on that. A couple of people have suggested lawyers and custody agreements, but I'm worried that my son would end up living with my girlfriend and her family if we broke up because I have nobody in my corner except for my sister, while she's his mom and has a whole family to support her. Admitting to or confronting what happened with my parents in the past is really hard for me, which is why I never actually told her in detail, and I think that was my mistake. I never considered that she'd want him to meet them. Until my sister texted me the photo, I had kind of just ignored their existence. Commenter 2. She taught your son not to trust you. That would be a reason to take her to court for a custody agreement, requiring her to sign that she will never take him to your parents behind your back. Imagine a toddler being told by his mom not to tell daddy. That little kid was in an abuser's home, unsupervised, many times. Imagine if grandpa had done something to him, but the child had learned to keep secrets. That's horrible and manipulative. Imagine if an accident had happened to that child. You wouldn't have had any idea. That betrayal is unforgivable. She drove a wedge between you and your kid. Nah, I would be done. Op's response. I panicked when he said it was something he wasn't supposed to say. She apparently told him it was a surprise, and that's why he had to say he was at her parents'. I wouldn't have been this upset if she had cheated on me, but she involved him, made him keep a secret, and put him at risk. The more I've been thinking about this, the more I feel like I just can't trust her anymore, especially if something did happen and he just doesn't realize it, or I haven't asked the right questions, or he doesn't have the vocabulary. Update 4 days later. First of all, thank you for all the comments and input. I didn't feel like I could even think when I made my initial post, so it was good to get different perspectives. This will be a long post, apologies in advance. I did write that my girlfriend and I would talk the same day I posted, but we didn't because I needed to sort myself out, and I think she did too. She's been avoiding me ever since and requested that we talk at her parents' place, but I didn't want that, so we didn't get to talk until yesterday while my son was at my sister's. Apparently, in September last year, my mother reached out to my girlfriend on Facebook, asking how my son and I were doing. My mother is a very intelligent woman but highly manipulative. She convinced my girlfriend to visit them because my father is ill. My girlfriend said she didn't tell me because she knew I'd say no, and she wanted to see what kind of people my parents were. She brought our son but didn't leave him alone at first. However, their visits became fairly regular, and she eventually became comfortable leaving him with my parents. He seemed fine, he even seemed to like it there, so she didn't feel like he was in danger. The first time she left my son fully alone was when she went Christmas shopping. I think, based on what I had told her about my childhood home, she expected a house of horrors, but according to her, the place was clean and fixed up, the dog was healthy, and my parents were nice. The thing is, she knew something had happened to my sister. I never told her what had happened to me, which I now see I probably should have. She doesn't see predators everywhere like I do, and since my son didn't report anything negative, she saw no issue in taking him and leaving him there. It's pretty clear that she doesn't know anything about abuse or what it can look like. I don't understand how she thought she'd be able to spot the signs with so little knowledge. My father has been in contact with children for most of my life, and while I don't know if he's done anything to them, my sister always said he knew how to make children feel at ease. Both my parents are very methodical and calculating, so I don't blame her for believing them, but I do blame her for not discussing this with me. She went to visit them after talking to my mother for a few days, whereas I lived there for 17 years, and somehow she thought she knew better than me. Even when I told her some details about my childhood, she still tried to push for supervised visits, saying my father was ill and that our son had a right to meet his grandparents, which I don't agree with at all. The thought of children being around these people makes me sick, but she seems reluctant to agree to officially limit their visitation rights. However, I'd need her agreement unless I won a court case. I also tried to explain why this felt like a betrayal, because this isn't just about putting my son in danger, it's also about her going behind my back for months. What else would she be capable of? Then she told my son to keep the visits a secret, which is exactly what abusers say too. She did apologize, saying she made an honest mistake and feels like I'm blowing this out of proportion, and that her parents think so too. Besides, our son is fine, and she said I shouldn't have raised my voice at her mother and should be more grateful for what her parents have done for me and us over the years, which I am. I owe them, sure, but that doesn't mean they can just overrule my parenting decisions or get so involved. I feel like neither she nor her parents trust me or take me seriously, and it's so frustrating when the mother of your son is pretty much actively working against you. I don't think she can even grasp how terrified I was when I talked to my son about their visits. Again, I know it's my fault for not telling her everything, but I never thought she would do something like this. My past never really affected me much anyway, I never felt like there was a reason for her to know all the details. Honestly, I don't know if anything is resolved. I know why she made the choices she made, but I don't feel like she understands why I was, and still am, upset. She left after bringing up her mother because I got angry, and I know I shouldn't have, but I revealed something so big and still don't feel taken seriously. I want us to work, and she agreed that it'd take a lot of effort to get back to where we were before all of this, which I'm not sure is even possible. Apparently, I deeply upset her and scared our son, which is true. I never wanted us to fight in front of him like that either, and I angered her family. I think, emotionally, all feelings for her vanished the moment I found out, so that's kind of where I'm at now. I wish we could make it work for his sake, but I don't want him to grow up with dysfunctional parents or with his parents fighting every day. So if this doesn't work out, I'll need to get a lawyer. I'm willing to put in the work needed for us to stay together, but I've been doing a lot of thinking. We were so young when we started dating and had our son, and I'm not sure I ever thought about us staying together forever. I only stayed because I was living with them, and then I stayed because I didn't want to be a crappy teen dad, abandoning my son and the girl I loved, because I really did love her. I think I'm also partially responsible for her getting pregnant in the first place, before he was even born. As for my son, I have talked to him a lot over the past few days. I had taught him about touch and what's okay and what isn't, so I just hope it's true that nothing happened. He has also, apparently, not seen anything inappropriate. Our fight got to him, though. He knows I was sad, and he knows his mom is too. I hope he and I talked it out enough and that my girlfriend gets to talk to him about this too. We might just sit him down together or something. I'll need to talk to her about that. Relevant comments. Commenter. She still thinks she knows your parents better than you do. She's still blaming you. She believes that her family's feelings being hurt is more important than the safety of her own flesh and blood. She does not understand the dynamics of abuse. She at least needs to look up what triangulation is. The only realistic option is to bring her to a trauma-informed couples counselor to see if she'll take a professional seriously. Then you can work on why she felt the need to groom your son for your parents to abuse. I don't see a future for the two of you otherwise. I'm so sorry for this situation. I hate how good abusers are at recruiting flunkies. Commenter 2. You need a custody lawyer like yesterday. It sounds like she never truly apologized. It was the "I'm sorry, but which isn't a real apology. She betrayed your trust and knowingly put your child in danger, yet she's still making it all about her feelings and what she wants. She still thinks you're exaggerating and that she's right. Because of that, she's going to keep doing it since, in her mind, she knows better than you, and you're just being dramatic. Also, I don't know what state you live in, but I would research whether her actions have given your parents grounds for grandparents' rights. Your girlfriend is never going to take you seriously, so you're going to have to in order to keep your child safe. Op adds an edit to his post. I feel the need to clarify a few things. I also see a bunch of people fighting in the comments, and I didn't word things as clearly as I should have in the post. I went no contact with my parents when I moved out for good. When my girlfriend was pregnant, we talked about my parents, and I told her I did not want to tell them they were going to be grandparents and that I did not want them to ever see our child. She agreed, and that was it. She and I had talked about my childhood prior to my first post. She knows enough about my living conditions to understand they were unsafe for any child. She knows my father is a violent alcoholic, and she knows about a lot of the crazy things my mother pulled over the years. She knows my sister has a PTSD diagnosis, and she knows my father touched her. That is everything she knew, and I honestly think that should have been enough. Her parents also know about most of this. Yes, I raised my voice at her and her mom when I found out she had been taking him there, and I definitely should not have done that. It's been really hard to stay calm when talking about my parents, especially with her refusing to listen to me. Our conversation on Thursday was very emotional as well, but I ultimately just shut down after I told her that my father had also abused me, and yet she still said, I don't see why we can't do supervised visits. I don't even have an argument because, logically, he can't do anything with someone watching, but it still feels like I'd be trafficking my son, even if he doesn't touch him at all, and I can't even explain why I feel that way. People in the comments say it's just an emotional response, which is true, and maybe it's illogical, but I truly don't see how getting to know his grandparents would be beneficial to him anyway. The reason I hadn't told her the details before is because I was fine being intimate, I managed at work, it's not like I want to off myself every day because my parents were crappy or something. It didn't need to be brought up, and having to talk about it is just painful. There's a lot of shame and just things my parents, I guess, brainwashed me to feel. It felt even more impossible after how dismissive she was. Things have calmed down between us now. Maybe it's sinking in for her, even though she still argues that nothing happened and that ultimately everything was fine, but it feels like that's just her inability to accept that she's made a mistake, repeatedly. She said she really thought they were okay because they seemed normal, clean house and all, their dog is not a ball of matted hair like our old one, everything being the opposite of how I described it. I don't think she'd bring him there behind my back again, but I obviously can't say for certain. We have not talked about this anymore. Maybe we need that right now so our son doesn't realize how bad it is between us, though I'm worried he knows anyway. I think we will separate, though. I don't see us as future partners anymore. Her teaching him to lie to me, and her parents apparently telling her that isn't a big deal, really scares me. I'm scared they will paint me as abusive or something because I really don't have much going for me when it comes to custody. She's the one with a functional support system, with people helping her look after our child, and her parents have the money for a good lawyer and can risk a lengthy legal battle. All of this, however, are things I need to talk to a lawyer about as soon as I find one. I'm not feeling anything for her anymore, not even anger. I know we can't stay together. I don't want us to end up like my parents. I don't want my son exposed to that, so I'm going to have to discuss separating with a lawyer and then decide from there. I think the best I can hope for is that we'll separate without much fighting and that we can co-parent effectively, which is also why I don't want to stir up any more arguments. I'll definitely take legal steps to prevent my parents from seeing him, as well as take him to a doctor. Relevant comments. Commenter. What a great mother, serving her kid up to predators on a silver platter, because, they were nice to her. The hell was she thinking? Commenter 2. People think they can tell. They're so smart, so observant. That's why they haven't been assaulted, you see, they just have a sixth sense. 100% this is what the girlfriend thought. And when she got the whole story, she went deep into denial. Because it was bad enough that she left her son with an abuser, but putting him alone in a room with a grapist would make her a bad mother. She can't be a bad mother, so he must not be a grapist, and Op must be overreacting. This kind of person disgusts me, putting their pride over their children.